Welcome back, everybody. Mary Calvi is our colleague from CBS New York. She is an anchor at WCBS and happens to be the First Lady of Yonkers, which is also her hometown.
And now she has published a novel of historical fiction about President George Washington and his first love, who was a woman who owned a mansion in Yonkers, and that inspired Mary to research her novel. Thank you so much for coming by to talk about it.
It is so good to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Wonderful to have you. It's called Dear George, Dear Mary. And it's interesting because it turns out for a lot of us, our education about George Washington is a little limited because we've never heard of Mary Phillips. But through all the 1800s, she's in everything written about George Washington.
That's what I truly couldn't believe. As I started my research about Mary Phillips, I started with the old books. And I went back to biographies written in the 1800s. And you had historians like Henry Cabot Lodge, who has a PhD from Harvard, writing about Mary Phillips, in fact saying in his biography of George Washington that Washington fell in love with Mary Phillips. So that was where I was starting the research. And then, of course, I became completely fascinated by it to make determinations as to, well, what was their relation like and what happened next. And there is where it all began.
You did 3.5 years of research. You really poured yourself into this. Some of the research you did, in fact, at Harvard.
I had to do a number of trips to Harvard, to Houghton Library, and they have an amazing collection of manuscripts from colonial America. And one of them is a love letter that was written by George Washington. It was really quite fascinating. This love letter that historians have always said was proof that George Washington was in love with his very good friend's wife. Now, the letter was written to his good friend's wife, but I believe it was written to her, but about Mary
Speaking
Phillips.
about Mary Eliza Phillips.
And who was she? Who was Mary Phillips?
Mary Eliza Phillips, from my research, was the richest heiress, single woman in colonial America at the time. She owned 50,000 acres of property along the river, and her family owned 250,000 acres of land in the colony. And so I believe that makes her the single richest woman in colonial America.
And they met in 1756.
So this is
right?
George Washington in his 20s. You know, we know George Washington as the general and the president, but go back 20 years and we find George Washington in his 20s on the precipice of greatness, a man who didn't have formal education and not a lot of wealth, but had this great resolve. And he was quite the romantic as well, from what I found. In fact, I believe he was quite the stud at the time, and all of the women wanted a touch of him, is what was said of him.
Tall, dark, and handsome. Right?
You have a bunch of quotes from him throughout the book, in fact, in which he talks about how love sometimes overtakes him and weakens him and that sort of. Very interesting to get that side of
Love
him.
is an involuntary passion and is therefore contended. It cannot be resisted.
That is one of
I mean,
his
can you
quotes.
imagine hearing George Washington say these things? It really took me by surprise,
And then
truthfully.
it doesn't work out with her, though. She ends up marrying a British officer, and you say he actually got bitter. Was it because she ended up marrying a British officer that he ended up having this break in his relationship with the British Army? What happened there?
Unrequited love, it can do a number on us. But what I found was, and it was quite interesting, and this is what I really hope will lead to further research about George Washington in his 20s. There's a 2-year period where I see George Washington, who is willing to give his life for the British Army. He was a colonel in the British Army at the time. And you slowly see that disintegrate into a real bitter resentment against the British Army. And historians in the past have said, well, George was raw, rude, he was immature at this time. But when you put Mary Phillips into the narrative, I believe his actions were rational and reasonable.
20 years later, they meet in 1756. They don't end up getting married. 20 years later, you found this pretty provocative connection that in 1776, Martha Washington, she has married George Washington, but she's down in Virginia for her safety during the Revolution. Mary Eliza Phillips' husband has gone off to England, and George Washington moves into a mansion in Harlem, and it's owned by Mary Phillips. Were they having some sort of an affair, or did they still have a connection?
Well, I really lost my breath when I realized that he had moved into this mansion and named it his military headquarters, and he lived there for 6 weeks. And I had asked a historian, well, what do you know about Harlem? And he said, well, the big question has been, why did George Washington spend so much time in that mansion? And as I continued to research, I realized that Mary Eliza Phillips, at the time Mary Morris, was, I believe, living in that same mansion. And I've been to that mansion. It exists, and anybody could go see it. It's a beautiful, beautiful historic site. And yes, I believe that they were in the same home at the same time during that year. Yes.
Interesting. So there's nothing to sort of prove it or disprove it, but that is where everybody was.
And, you know, I'm not sure what actually happened in that house at the time, and I certainly wouldn't want to make a judgment, but it did offer quite the challenge for me when I was writing the book, honestly.
And really what happened to Mary Phillips was tragic. Talk about her. And
It was devastating. So 3 women were named traitors during the American Revolution, and Mary Phillips was one of them. Not only were they named traitors, but all of their possessions, their properties were auctioned off to the highest bidder under a law that was the harshest law ever passed in colonial America before or after. And so what happened is a group of officials became like judge, jury, and executioner and voted in this law and would not allow judicial recourse. So no one could say, I'm innocent. If you were named in this law, then basically you were an enemy of the state.
You didn't get a jury trial.
That's correct.
The book is Dear George, Dear Mary by Mary Calvi. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Good luck with the book.
So good to be with you. Thank you.
wonderful to have you here.